So, a few weeks ago, I saw a video by Alpine Squib, which featured a certain Minecraft mod, Mob Talker. And boy did it bring back all the childhood memories. Before I understood why these anime girls had very little clothes. But most importantly, this video inspired me. If you haven't seen it, go. Go now. Or later. But watch the video, because their redesigns are very cool. To not copy their video one-to-one, I chose a different group of mobs, except the Enderman, because that one's my favorite. So, now the question is, what was Mob Talker? To put it simply, a Minecraft dating sim. Each mob would be turned into an anime girl you could romance, all of which had different personalities and quirks. I think the art itself is really good, but I do not like the designs at all. The creeper was, in my opinion, the best design, which explains why it was used as the mascot of the mod. So, let's get into how I would draw Minecraft mobs if they were all girls, and in a semi-fantasy setting, cause it's Minecraft. There are no pizza rolls in Minecraft. Starting off with Anita, which is what I'm calling the Enderman, because she's the simplest design I have out of all four of them. So I did do some initial sketching, which I figured I should start doing that for videos like this, because I do change smaller details in between designs. I'm gonna show off the sketches now. Yeah, a lot changes, especially considering there were not gonna be 4 in my original video idea, but 4 is a more rounded group, you know? I wanted to pick an entity from each dimension, and the Enderman was the only one from the end that was around at the time, really, except, like, the dragon, of course. So yeah, we went with Anita. We also went with the Blaze for the Nether, the Skeleton for the Overworld, and then I wanted to do a 4th one, just for funsies. So when I was picking out the 4th one, I thought, okay, what is a mob that has significance right now? And new update, we're having a bunch of Ghast stuff, so I picked the Ghast. You'll see her later. For now, let's talk about the Enderman design. I wanted to give them a very long kind of silhouette or body type. I tried my best to do varying body types for these mobs, but, you know, something that at least fit them. So I went with, like, a tall, lanky character for Anita, and I wanted her hair to kind of fill out the rest of that silhouette. Honestly, she has the simplest design out of all 4 of them, but I love it. I love that it's just a nice little dress with a, I don't know what to call the undershirt. It's cute. I like her design. I was gonna give her freckles, but I decided against doing that when I started doing all the colors and whatnot. It's gonna be a trend that I'm gonna struggle with colors throughout this video. Like, a lot of it is done off the recording, but this was the easiest coloring, so I was deceived into thinking, oh boy, this is gonna be easier than I thought it would be. It wasn't. Either way, for some mini lore about Anita, I guess, all I have about her is she's shy, but in the way of if you look at her for more than a second, she's gonna try to snap your neck. That's just her. Very hard to get, you know? You gotta wear a pumpkin if you wanna talk to her, at the very least. But besides that, that's all I have. I did not have too many ideas for the Enderman, which is sad, you know? We got the emo Twilight Sparkle vibe, but whatever. I remember in the original Mob Talker mod, I never got to see what an Enderman looked like up until now. I had a very different idea in my head of what I thought they were gonna look like, because I watched this playthrough from a YouTuber called Carflow, and they only had the Creeper Girl. I think they called her Koopa in the video. But yeah, I really wanted to see the Enderman, and I was pretty disappointed when I did see their design. Because a lot of the Mob Talker designs have this, like, a weird hat on their head to represent their mob, and I don't like that. I think there are way more creative ways that they could have done that whole design process. Like, hats are cool and all, but you can't just stick a hat on everything. Color palette can go a long way. Alright, on to the next one. We have Blair the Blaze. This was definitely, like, my second favorite design. I chose a blaze because out of all the nether mobs, it's an iconic one, you know? This mod came out before they modified all the piglins, so the choices were limited. It was either her or a magma cube, and I think the blaze would have a much better silhouette, and she did. I love drawing fire hair. I think it's like the way it flows around. I like it. I wanted to go with that. I also decided it would be fitting if I cut off her legs halfway, so she's kind of just like floating around, you know? So out of all 4 characters, I ended up having the most, I guess, made-up lore for the blazes, because it started with the simple idea of, okay, what if the blazes have a frat house vibe? I'm not talking about, what's it called? What's it called? Whatever they call the girl version of a frat house. Nah, this is a frat house in vibes alone. And I was trying to go with that for her design. I wanted her to look very, like, tough. She works out a bit. She just hangs out with all her gal pals, getting drunk off of awkward potions. And yeah, it's just, I don't know. I feel like it's cursed to have blazes be just a bunch of party animals, but you know what? I think it's funny, so I'm just gonna go with it. They are menaces to the entire nether, and no one can stop them. So, when you're looking at the original, I think it was called Blazette, I'm not quite certain, but her initial design was just a bathing suit, basically, and I wanted to at least keep some of that when designing this, but it mostly translated to they aren't wearing too many clothes because hot nether place, whatever, but I still wanted to add more to it. I ended up adding a little pair of, like, shorts. You'll see that as I'm doing more in the design. But, you know, sometimes designs look better when you aren't just showing off as much skin as possible. I want to reiterate, I don't think the art style is bad. I just don't personally like the designs. Like, it does not feel bulky at all. I could not see that blaze being the defender of a fortress. I mean, this one, to an extent, I can see her protecting stuff. Maybe it's not for the best reason, you know, she just wants to get slammed, but I don't care. But yeah, I had an idea for, you know, it's the scrapped mob that was like a modified blaze. I forgot the name of it, but I had a fun idea where basically that blaze is like the leader of the Blaze Fortress frat house, whatever I'm gonna call it. So I wanted to give off those vibes in this design as well. I added like a little bit of vaguely armor-shaped stuff by her legs, and I wanted to have the blaze rods float up like a crown, so maybe it changes into an actual crown when they become the boss or something. Either way, the hardest part of this design was gonna be a trend here, the color palette. I had to do a lot of changing and tweaking of the design away from the recording. You're only seeing little tidbits of how much I had to do. I tried doing lighter palettes, darker palettes, but this one ended up being the final one. For her little, I don't know what to call it, the cloth that's, loincloth, I think that's what it's called. I wanted it to have a pattern that resembles a fortress, you know, vaguely. And as for her hair, which I am currently figuring out, I didn't really know what to do with it. I was trying to make it look like fire. It wasn't really working out though. It wasn't really popping. So eventually I decided, hey, what if we go with a lava lamp vibe? I figured it would look more like lava instead of fire, but I liked it. I liked the way it looked. It really made her stick out. So that's what I went with for the final design of the hair. I'm really happy with how this design turned out. I love the details, I love the outfit. Overall, I think it's a good design, even though it did pain me with how long it took just to figure out the colors. Alright, we are back and we have the skeleton Ridley. I really struggled figuring out a name for this character because for the previous two, it was just, oh, Enderman, Enda, Anita, you know, it works. Blaze is already a name actually, but I wanted something that was different than Blaze. So I found the name Blair and I thought, yeah, easy. I could not find a skeleton name. Most of them were just joke names. So when I was trying to figure out what to call her, I was looking at a name, and in like the Google recommended, I saw, what's the meaning of the name Ridley? And I thought, hey, Ridley sounds like the noise bones make. I'm not crazy, I swear. Like, it does, right? Right? But anyways, I ended up choosing the name Ridley for her, and I really like it. Now, if it wasn't apparent, their design is a very different vibe from the previous two, but I wanted her to be like, you know, a tomboy, kind of standoffish character, but not to the degree of being antisocial. One of my friends made a joke that she probably listens to Gorillaz or something in her free time, and yeah, she definitely gives off that vibe. So out of all the mobs that have hats, I really wanted to keep the hat on this one because I thought it fit the vibe. It added to the outfit, and without the hat, they looked very boring. I don't have the sketch of it on hand, but trust me, it wasn't looking very good. So yeah, overall, just figuring out the design, figuring out how to make it look vaguely like a skeleton. It wasn't that hard. This was probably one of the easier designs besides the Enderman. But it is easy to confuse it with a zombie. When I was asking people if they could identify what mobs they were, Ridley did get a few people saying, oh, it's a zombie. But when I give her her color palette, that immediately goes away. Zombies have a very obvious blue-green color. Skeletons are just gray. I did add more black to her design, but that's mostly to make her stand out compared to the next character we're drawing, the Ghast, because Ghasts have a lot of white on them, and unlike a skeleton, I didn't really know what to substitute it with, because a lot of skeletons are drawn with black and white color palettes, so I decided I'm gonna keep the black and white idea for the skeleton. I'll be damned. I don't care that there's a wither skeleton, and if I were to ever draw that, it would get a bit tricky. Whatever. I'll figure it out if I ever get there. I probably won't. I will say, just look at her original design and tell me if you would have figured out that that was a skeleton. Because I don't know. I have to censor this because I don't know if YouTube would like me showing the rest of it. And we are on to our final mob, the Ghast. This one is definitely my favorite design out of all of them. Like, I had no idea what I was doing. The sketch you see on the side was actually her first sketch, and I really liked it. I wanted her to look really bubbly and like a cloud, because, you know, Ghasts are floating about. With all the new lore being introduced in the update, I'm a bit less certain about Ghasts now. So she has a very big poofy dress and an umbrella to give off the whole, or I guess it's not an umbrella, it's more like a parasol. But I love it. She looks like a very soft marshmallow, and I'm a sucker for drawing parasols, what can I say? They're intricate, but all the little details are just so fun to draw. I really love drawing the little, I don't know what to call them, the little ruffles that are half circles. They are my favorite thing to just add onto a fancy design, because they aren't hard to draw. It's calming is what I'm trying to say. This entire design was actually really relaxing to draw for the most part, since it has a lot of curves and circles. and little marshmallow hair. For her personality, I feel like the Ghast is the kind of shy character that is actually shy. Like, they're generally reclusive, they hide away from others, but they're a sweetheart. They're just a nice lady. I don't know if she can actually float, or whether she just looks like it, but it'd be kind of funny if she kind of just, like, hovered down from places using, I don't know, you got, like, Mary Poppins vibes, just going, I added a bunch of ribbons to her design to try and, like, emulate the little feet of the Ghast. I don't know what they are. Wait, what are those things, actually? Are they feet? Are they tentacles? I don't know. Either way, now they're ribbons. Looking at the original Ghast design, that's actually how I got the idea for the dress. I saw that and I was like, oh, that's really cute. But I wanted the dress to be more round, because if it's just a very thin dress, it would look a lot like the Enderman that I drew. So I wanted to separate their designs. As for her colors, those were pretty interesting to figure out. So I knew I was going to be doing a lot of, like, white pastel-y colors, but, like, very desaturated. Because, you know, she's just a sad girl. She's just existing in the nether and crying all the time. She needs help. But I ended up going with a desaturated pinkish color, and I really liked the way it looked. I also went with a pink color for her hair, because there's already so much white, I figured, hey, let's try this. And it actually looks really good. I'm really proud of how it turned out, because it makes the whole outfit appear like it's the Ghast part, and she has, like, a little softer pink interior. Yay! It looks like there's purple, but that is just a deeper shade of desaturated red. But I like it. It makes the design look very nethery, despite the outfit not belonging in the nether, which goes to show that she's out of place, that she belongs somewhere else. For her little doodle on the side, I did this for all 4 of them, because, you know, it is based off a dating sim, so I wanted to draw all of them with, like, I guess a sprite that showcases what they look like when they're flustered or embarrassed. And for her, I feel like she would open her eyes, but when I get to coloring it, you'll see she's really scary when she opens her eyes. She looks much softer when they're closed. Either way, I am really excited for the Ghast update, to be honest. It looks cooler and cooler by the day. We finally have a form of sky transportation. Honestly, I don't know who came up with this. They're a genius. This is one of my favorite ideas. And there we go! Drawing these characters was a lot of fun. While making this video, I ended up creating a whole damn story for these gals, which I can never take back. Anyways, I would once again like to direct you to Alpine Squib's video in the description. And if they are watching this, I stole your video. Jokes aside, I will be posting these characters on my Blue Sky, so if you want to see them in higher quality, go there. I also post my personal non-YouTube related art there. And cats. So, yeah. Bye.